a village, and I really do believe that it does take a village to bring about a young adult that has a balanced perspective, not just a single-sided perspective from mom and dad, but from other people that are in their community that are also very intelligent people that have, high, integrity standards, things like this. I'm going to garden big time, going to do greenhouses, going to produce as much of our own food as possible.
So is it just in terms of agriculture that you're getting off the grid, or are you working to get completely off the grid in terms of, energy infrastructure and so forth?
I don't know that it's possible to get completely off the grid. It's possible, I suppose. One of the couple of the other things as far as energy goes is we're going to do some windmills, some I don't know if you call them windmills, but wind generators.
Turbines, yeah.
Wind turbines, thank you. Just smaller wind turbines. And then a solar array on top of the rooftop of the house. And then we're going to get kind of experimental with like magnifying glass and heating up water, creating steam, and steam, running into a turbine. Things like this,
Awesome.
It's gonna be a bit of an experimental property as well for different energy possibilities.
That's fantastic. So is there any information that you would or links that you would have to recommend if anyone else felt inspired by this approach to see what sort of stuff that has helped you?
Not yet. The person that's really kind of been on this aspect, like as far as the alternative energy production side, he's traveling in Europe right now, and he doesn't get back. But basically, what he's been doing is he's been pulling the lenses out of old big flat screen TVs, and they're known as I believe the correct pronunciation is Fresnel lens, and this lens is essentially a giant magnifying glass, and you're able to boil water with it, so it's pretty cool. You can, you can distill water, which is a big deal, I think. And, I don't have any links for you though. Sorry, Adam.
Yeah, that's cool. So that's generally what you're doing right now.
That's what I'm doing right now, man. It's like I'm not doing a whole lot of street activism anymore. That was definitely what my rep was from pretty much 2007 to 2011. I was real big on street activism. I had, I formed this, we were doing the TV show, and I wanted to form just like a center for like a local Austin Zeitgeist chapter center. So we got a big 7-bedroom house, and we filled the house with some really cool tech. Like we've got a rotating Omega garden. It's known as the Volksgarden. If you go to Omega Gardens, you'll be able to find this Volksgarden. But it's basically it's
the Ferris wheel sort of setup, isn't it?
Correct, the Ferris wheel setup. We also got an atmospheric water generator in the house. It's basically a fancy dehumidifier with a bunch of filters on it.
Cool.
And we got an automated DVD duplicator and light scribe labeler. So, and what else did we get? Well, we also had a 3D printer here in the house.
Wow.
And so, the idea was to kind of embrace as much of this tech that we could that was affordable, that was purchasable by the public. And even though I got to tell you, other than the 3D printer and actually everything worked well other than the atmospheric water generator, but everything else worked pretty well. But what happened was that our house, yes, it started as an activist hub, but a couple of the couples had kids, and it really turned into more of a family house. And what it made me realize is that to really do it right, I really feel like my next activism endeavor is really on the next level, and I encourage as many chapters to be able to start working this angle, is creating museums of the future. This museum that I have in mind is called something like Museum of Technological Advancement, or you could call it
Mm-hmm.
Museum of Technological Abundance. But MOTA, essentially what it is this really clean museum that you walk into and you're given a tour where you're going to go to different areas that relate to agriculture, transportation, communications, whatever it may be, and you're going to be able to see the what's coming next, as far as our technology goes, that's going to be really kind of radically changing and reshaping our world. 3D printing is a possibility, so forth. And so this tech would be acquired probably through original purchases, but later on, just like any museum, donations from individuals and from companies and corporations. It was my thought that the companies Austin has a lot of tech companies here, that I would approach these tech companies and get installation donations, as well as different, young engineers and technicians, and to be able to put these things on display in a way where people can come and actually see them, work with them if they want to, instead of just hearing all about them. The whole idea is that the tour guide, probably it would be automated, but at first it would be a real person. But by the time they get done with the tour, they've already been given an idea of the idea that money is not going to be able to be compatible in the future with this. How much automation, how much abundance automation is going to be producing, and that they leave with a more feasible idea that, you know what, a resource-based economy is a likely scenario for our future. I just saw all the tech that's, in its early phases. I can see how this could be mass adopted and mass implemented in the future, and I feel pretty hopeful.
Yeah, because people see it even functioning even within a monetary system which, by its own systemic logic, can't allow for this kind of tech to truly evolve. If it even in that kind of environment where it's inhibited, if it can still exist and function properly, wow! Just think about how it could evolve if it's not inhibited.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it's hard to imagine. It would be so huge. It'd be so big. It would just change everything.
Exactly. Well, that's basically what you're doing now. I thought I'd delve a little into what got you started in this sort of thing. Like how did you how did you
Yeah.
encounter this train of thought?
Okay. I was, man, I got to be really honest with you. I was an artist in Los Angeles, and I was a dancer for the most part. I was a street dancer, and I was frustrated with, having to still report to a job, even though my talent was getting better and better. And I felt that I should be able to be earning a living through my craft. And then one night when I kind of went through I guess I went through a bout of sobriety where I had to, in like 2001, I had to give up everything. And then, I started smoking a little cannabis, and cannabis really was kind of responsible for allowing me to have this thought, which was, why is the market not more receptive or more monetarily, I don't know, productive, accountable for my style and my interest, my craft. And so this ultimately led to, me answering a few questions, which led to a massive amount of inspiration, which led to a massive lifestyle and thought process change. And shortly after that, a few documentaries came out, Zeitgeist being one of them, which was extremely impactful to me. And I probably watched it like 35 times, the first movie. So when I learned that, oh man. And so when I learned that a second movie was coming out, I flew to LA for that, and, got to meet Jacques and Roxanne at the premiere. And then I went out to Venus and visited with Jacques and Roxanne out in Venus for a bit. And yeah, man, I was into it big time. Like I got as much material as I could, and I just started studying because after the second movie, I was like, man, I have so much to learn in order before I can start actually articulating these ideas on my own. And so yeah, I buckled in and just started, getting my learn on for a few years. And then I was back in Austin, and during that time, during that whole time though, I was doing a TV show on my own called Tyson TV, where I was just covering, basically I would use my dancing as a way to capture channel surfers because it was a public access TV show. And but my dancing was very eye catchy, and so I was able to perform a little dance at the beginning of the show, which would catch channel surfers, and then I would say, hey, and I'm going to teach you how to do some of these dance moves, and then I would teach a dance move, and then I'd say, now listen, while I got you here, I want to talk to you about something else that I think is really important, and that might have been some type of injustice or possible conspiracy, some type of alternative information that the mainstream media doesn't generally report on.
Mm.
So
And,
after,
sorry,
after
just
Zeitgeist Addendum, continue.
Yeah, I was just saying, just for those of you who may not be watching the YouTube version, right now in the background we are watching one of Tyson's fantastic dances. So just for those of you who want to check it out, then go to YouTube, guys. But anyway, carry on, Tyson.
Okay, so as you know, Adam, all these different kind of problems that I might have been talking about on my TV show, after Zeitgeist Addendum came out, there was an answer. There was a reason for all these responsibility for these problems. And so I found that on my TV show, all I could talk about was, the information that I was learning from the Venus Project and a resource-based economy. And so I finally felt that I had to just change the whole focus of my TV show. And that is when I formed Zeitgeist Live. I just started a whole new TV show called it Zeitgeist Live. Used the Austin chapter as my production team because they all had skills. One of them had an RTF, a radio, television, and film degree, and the other one was a Photoshop illustrator. And so we found that we all just had the right tools in order to come together to produce our own TV show. Doing a live TV show is really difficult. I got to be honest, especially if you're not a full-on pro and you have lots of resources and time to pull it off. It's frustrating. Doing a pre-recorded show is much easier than getting everything right for a live show. And that might have been one of the things that was also kind of a little disheartening, because it would appear that you just had the most solid show, and then you go back and watch it and you find all these things that were actually turned on, and it was not solid at all. So but yeah, I think that pretty much covers how I got into it and whatnot. I mean,
fantastic. Well, if you'd like to just elaborate into, because one of the things I love asking people is how encountering this worldview of realizing that we have the technological and resource capability to provide for all human beings, no money required whatsoever. This awakening process. I love hearing how that the encountering of that information has brought about a change in their worldview, if there is a change at all. Because there's some people that I've spoken to that they'll be like they just say, well, I've always thought that money's bullshit. And I'm just like, all right, that's cool. So how has it enriched their view? So if you want to just elaborate a bit onto how how your worldview existed before, and how it was, how encountering this information has culminated into what it is now.
Well, I would say it shows up in the form of, I talk about it with automation. I'm a big tech guy now. Now that I understand how, I used to not really appreciate, I used to, I would say I used to not appreciate technology, but everything is technology. Everything around us is due to some type of innovation that took place. And, yes, I think a small percentage of that innovation was motivated by money to possibly